Hello, student. Welcome to Standard 9 History and Political Science. Let us begin the first lesson, Political Science, that is Post World War Political Development. You must be knowing that we had two World War. One was considered as First World War, started in 1914 and end with in 1918. So 4 years. And the Second World War was raised, started uh, in the year 1939, and it was ended on 1945. So, and it has a great impact on the world. So, through this lesson, we are going to study all these and post World War. What happened? What are the things? How it went on? How world was divided into two groups. Bipolarization took place. After that, globalization, and then the non-alignment and non-alignment movement. So in this way, so many things happen. So we are going to learn all this through this lesson. Let us revise. In the civics textbook till now, we have studied local self-government institution. So local self-government institution is that Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti, Jilla Parishad. Then we have at Taluka level the uh, Panchayat Nagar Parishad, and at the district level we have corporation. In this way, these are considered as local self-government institutions. Then India's constitution also we have studied, and our political system or governmental structure, that also we have studied. We have seen how federal system exists in our country. In this class, we are going to study India's relations with the world. You must have understood world geography through the study of geography. You must have become familiar with the global historical events through the study of history. Now, through the study of political science, we are going to study India's relations with the world and some major global issues. Let us see what are the global issues and how India's relationship with the other countries. We are dependent on different persons, institutions, and organizations in the society for different reasons and for different facilities. For example, as a child, we are dependent on our parents. Then we are dependent on the school. School is an institution, and the teachers, and there then as we grow, then we are dependent on banks and insurance and factories, and therefore we are constantly dependent on each other. Our social life is interdependent, and mutual cooperation has a very important place in it. So we are dependent on each other, and it has a important place. Just as it is true about individual and society, it applies to different nation as well. So as it is true with us, our nation is also interdependent on each other. There are many independent nations in the world like India. We got independence in 1947. So like that, most of the countries are independent. Some exchange and interaction goes on between them constantly. For example, we are dependent on petroleum product in the Arabian countries. Then we are dependent on, say, coffee, in that case, on Brazil, or dependent on so many things for other countries. Or I can also give you that European nations are dependent on us for spices. We send them spices or minerals and so on. These independent states also enter into treaties with each other. So treaties means the agreement. So we make agreement with them, they make agreement with us. They are called treaties, and these agreements are followed. A system of all these independent sovereign states come up. So sovereign means the country is independent, but no other external power rules the nation. For example, India, no other outsiders are ruling us. Our own people are ruling us. That is considered as sovereign nation. We call it international system. Let us get to know some features of this international system. Interdependence. All the countries of the world are dependent on each other for one reason or the other. However big, prosperous, or developed a nation may be, it can never be self sufficient about all its need. That means we are dependent, all the nations are dependent on each other. Even big nations have to depend upon other big or small nations. Thus, interdependence is an important feature of international system, that is today's global system. So we are interdependent, we are dependent on each other, which is called as interdependence. I wonder, what is the difference between the interdependence between individual and that between the nation? Individuals, we suppose a person has forgotten its compass or pen, then we borrow from others. So, uh, and he helps us in, that is individual interdependence. And nations are dependent. I have given you the example of petroleum products. We are dependent on the Arabian nations for petroleum products. So this is called interdependence of the nations. Is there such a division like rich countries and poor countries? I would say uh, that there are developed nation, there are developing nation and underdeveloped nation. So I don't want to say that rich nation and poor nation, uh, because every country wants to be a developed nation. Just as a country is governed by a constitution, is there some kind of a constitution at the global level? There is no such thing as constitution, but we have an international organization called as UN, United Nations, and United Nations see that peace is remain throughout the world, no war takes place, and thus it works to keep the peace in the world. Who enjoys the supreme position in an international system? The country which is developed, the country which has lot of arms, the country which has lot of weapons enjoys the supreme position in an international system. But armed race endangers international peace, international relations through foreign policy. So we are asked the question, what is foreign policy? The answer is every nation has policies about its internal dealings, as also about its relations with other nations. Such a policy is called as foreign policy. So, our relations with other nations is considered as foreign policy. We are going to study India's foreign policy in detail in the next chapter. So, it is quite important to have foreign policy, and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru formed it, foreign policy, and is considered as architecture of foreign policy through Panchashila and all. Next chapter we are going to study. So let us do this. Collect newspaper for a month and take cuttings of news about different foreign countries. Classify the news on the basis of the points given below and put up an exhibition. A. The visit to our country of persons holding important position in other nations. B. Treaties signed between our country and other countries. C. An international conference conveyed in our country. And D. Events with respect to our neighboring countries. So all these news you must collect, classify them, make an one file, and then when you come to school, bring this file to school so that you can show to us and we can have an exhibition of your collection. In this way, we have taken a review of post World War political development. We have seen the introduction and interdependence. We have seen how each country is dependent on the other country. No country is self-sufficient, so we are dependent on each other. So in this way, we will study the next part.